Hello everyone, and welcome back to Warframe Showcase. Yes, it has returned. Stronger than ever, sort of. Anyway, let's begin. Today's item, the Bronco. The whole Bronco set, to be honest. Now, the Bronco is a bit of a old weapon. Very old. Like, probably the first few updates old. Now, it's a weapon that's actually pretty much you can get right out of the gate. You can get it very quickly, though it does take a couple of components to build and whatnot. So as we can see, the accuracy is very poor, critical chance not really there, status is okay, and has a lot of impact. So it's impact shotgun weapon, but very poor range. But you know what, screw the plain Bronco, we're going straight to Prime, because the Prime's is better in every way. So I'm going to review the Prime version, since the plain Bronco is so easy to get and will not achieve nearly as much. But what is different? Well, it has slightly better accuracy, very slightly. Critical chance remains the same. The fall off, though, is 8 to 18. That's a new stat they added since last time I made videos on shotguns. And I believe that's in feet. So, yeah. That's a very quick drop-off, as you'll see. Fire rate's average, go around 4 shots, but the reload's only 2 seconds, and the status is 22. And impact, we got 280, so that's a lot more. Alright, let's take a better look at this. Now, when I look at the Bronco Prime, I think swag. Why? Look at that thing on top of the gun. It's supposed to be a sight? No, it obstructs your view. It's supposed to be a carrying handle. What would be the point of that? It's unnecessary swag. Oh, moving on, we got these 3 protruding barrels, which does not fire all 3 at once. If you ever looked at the animation of the gun, you'll see that it fires 1 barrel and rotates. And given the short barrels, it makes sense for it being very inaccurate. Very inaccurate. Otherwise, I don't really see a whole lot of else to talk about it. It's just unnecessarily swaggery. It's not even a word, but I don't care. Now, I wasn't caring about the accuracy. Look at this. It's terrible. When anyone asks me, what's the least accurate gun in the game, I usually say the Bronco. Why? My strategy is to walk up to my enemy, put the gun, and shove it down his throat, and then pull the trigger. That way I cannot miss. Anything else, I might. So let's go right on to the next thing, the ultimate build. Alright, so here's my ultimate build with a single Bronco Prime. Now you can see how we got pretty much 9,700 impact. And plenty of status to go with that, around 70%. Everything else, not really noteworthy. So I got my Horde Strike and Barrel Diffusion, pure damage. Pummel is like the, pretty much one of the event mods, or you can actually get them pretty frequently now from Borrow, but that increases your impact. Lethal Torrent increases multi-shot and fire rate, which is rather necessary. Well, fire rate anyway, but Cushion Rounds is the standard impact damage increase. Pistol Pestilence is poison plus status chance, and the reason why I chose that is because I chose Ice Storm, which is ice damage plus magazine capacity, so it can place up to 6 shots. That's pretty important, you want as many shots as possible. And when the poison, it comes the viral. But wait, what is my ribbon mod? Well, it's actually a pretty good one. Now you can see I got plus 109% impact damage, plus 44% damage to Grenier and Corpus. Corpus is a bit overkill, but damage to Grenier is actually a very big thing for this gun. It doesn't really kill the Grenier so well. With this ribbon mod, it just might. It might, but we shall see about that. Now, moving on to the test, we'll start with the usual, the Grenier, which I choose Arid Grenier because, you know, they're just right there. No different from standard Grenier, and here's something new since last time I've done this. Warframe Invincibility? Yes please. That way I don't have to dodge and actually focus on the weapon review. That was always such a huge hassle, especially the last few updates since they made the enemies very accurate. Now we'll take the Grenier to level 100. Yeah, that'll be good. Level 100. Now, with that, let's see. Oh yes, they cannot hurt me. Finally. Anyway, as you much think this might be useless, no. With that viral bomb proc inflicted on them, and my ribbon mod doing about 44% more damage, at point blank is actually quite effective at killing them. But that's a problem. Point blank. Now, when you go up to a level 100, what's your first plan of strategy? I can at least tell you it's not point blank. When it comes to level 100, you actually want to put as much different distance between you and him as possible. Taking cover behind and such, not the opposite of you assaulting them behind cover. So yeah, that's the main problem with this weapon. It's kind of like a mentality of over-aggressiveness. So let's take it against some Corpus drones here. I'll level them. Yeah, around there. And level, we're going to jack them up to 145, the max. So this should kill them pretty easily. given all the damage, since corpses are weak against impact, and sure enough, point blank, they die. Most of the time. Though viral probably isn't doing too much against them, but no matter. But even at a small distance like this, you can see the damage fall off is immense. Even just firing blankly in this group. I'm hitting everyone, sure, but I'm not killing anyone. So yeah. This weapon kind of stems from the old mentality of Warframe. Warframe has certainly changed over the course of years I've been playing it. And this weapon hasn't. It's gotten a buff. If it didn't, from the shotgun buff from a few updates back. If it didn't, it'd be a pretty terrible weapon. It's just barely usable now. But is it really terrible? No, it's just not really meant for fighting with level 100s and such. I'm going to get some chargers. We're going to dip them down to level 100 or so, because I don't have any extra damage against them. Though I may still kill them 1 to 2 hits. But that's just the thing. 1 to 2 hits at point blank. Infestation, point blank. Do you see a problem with this? Some do. But yes, it's not really a bad weapon per se, but it's bad design. It's outdated design, so it's probably a better way of putting it. It's powerful. It's just, to get that close, to get that firepower, you're going to leave yourself open when you're reloading. Unless you plan to run away every time you have to reload, and that's just tedious. So how does it do against the strongest enemy in the game? Well, strongest per armor, which is the heavy gunner I've been finding. And I don't think it even matters if it's heavy gunner or bombard, or maybe even if it took a corrupted lancer. Well, I'm not killing this thing. It's a bit of a joke at this point. Even with viral, that's not going to change anything. The Bronco's never meant to take on armor, clearly. But now I'm doing the other half, the AK Bronco Prime. So, you take 1 Bronco, you get 2 Broncos. What do you get? Well, twice as much shit to throw at the enemy. But there's some significant differences here. Okay, accuracy remains justly the same. Same thing goes for critical chance and critical damage, fall off the same. Magazine starts up at 6, the fire rate is double, of course. Reload is only 0.3 of a second longer, which is strange. You'd think it'd be much longer, like 3 seconds, but no. Status is increased to 30% chance. But here's the damage gets a little wonky. Puncture remains the same, impact is actually weaker, where the single Bronco goes to only 280, which I'll show just shortly here. And not to mention the slash, I don't know why, but increases. I don't know how wielding 2 Broncos gets you less impact damage and more slash. That really doesn't make sense when you think it just doesn't. I'll just show you the numbers. Okay, here it is. So we can see the single Bronco has 280 impact, AK Bronco is 210. The single Bronco has 35 slash, and then the AK Bronco has 105. So even doubling, the single Bronco wouldn't even get us that number. It's just a head scratcher is what it is. It's weird. It bugs me that it's weird like that. But no matter. So that means it'll be better against infestation, supposedly. But the accuracy is still just as terrible. It's still horrible. The difference is you have simply more bullets to shoot. At the end of the day, depending how you mod it. For me, personally, I'd rather have quality over quantity, but no matter. Let's go on to the ultimate build. Okay, this one's similar but different, slightly. So, for damage, you can see I got 8,300, sorry. And almost 4,000 blast. Slash is actually 1,100, so that's alright. Now, how I got this is Horn Strike, Barrel Diffusion, Lethal Torrent, Pummel. They all do the same things I mentioned before. And this time, I also have Ice Storm for, again, the extra ammo and ice, and I put Scorch on for Explosion, because you got more shots this time. The other mod I chose to throw on was actually Magnum Force, which increases overall damage but decreases accuracy, which is a moot point on this weapon. It really doesn't matter. Also, my status is 84%, but no matter. Let's move on to the Ribbon mod here, which you can see I got an okay Ribbon mod. I got 107% ammo maximum and then 147% impact. I rolled it 3 times and I wasn't able to roll it too many more times. And to be honest, it's not even my Ribbon mod, I'm just borrowing it. Because I certainly don't want to keep it. But no matter. Let's go on to the test. So again, with the Lancers, I'll grab 8 or 10 of them or so. Level, I'll put them back down to a little bit below 100, because I'll just fight that heavy gunner. You know what? 75. Yeah. And it's a good thing they're at 75, because I don't think, without that Ribbon mod for my first one, giving 44% more damage, this weapon really falters. It takes anywhere between 1 to 3 to 4 shots to kill him most opponents. And if you're at any distance, I don't want to count that high. So yeah, big drop-off. Though I have been noticing one thing, that my status chance is 80% on this weapon, although it's not quite kicking in. That should be like almost every shot, but it's like becoming every 4th shot, roughly. Sometimes every 3rd. I'm not sure it's just terrible luck in this review, but the single Bronco had no problem. It activated the proc pretty much almost every shot, if not every 2nd shot. But the AK, I'm having a little iffy trouble there with that. But no matter, let's move on to the Corpus, which should turn out a little bit better. Although at this point we all get the idea it's not the best weapon, even when you have 2 of them. Now for the next test, I'll grab 11 Samoas and jack them up, maybe not to level 100, you know what, level 90's fine. Yeah, level 90. Okay, now that we get the explosion proc, it's pretty good. And for damage, it's pretty good as well, but again, the mentality of charging level 90s to 100s at close quarter combat, and then when you're outnumbered too, it's just a terrible idea. And there, we saw my explosion proc only happened once that entire battle. So that's something wrong with the status on this. Weird. At least for the timing of this review. And it might change that in the future. But anyway, I got 20 chargers, keep them at level 90. And, let's see, I got 1 explosion proc, but I'm only getting the 1. That's bugging me a lot now. But it's simply how it is. For this Bronco, I don't feel too much of a loss of this weapon. It's amusing for a couple of missions, but then it becomes incredibly redundant. But no matter, I'll mention that on a separate video I tagged at the end. But otherwise, it's an okay weapon, but it's meant for the lower level areas, not the high levels. Let's move on to the score mode. Moving on to the pros and cons of the single Bronco Prime. On the pros, it's got good stopping power. It's always available in the game, plain and Prime. This Prime is not tagged to any other Warframe, which is good. And I guess has good status. And that's kind of it for the pros, I think, in this weapon. Cons, it has virtually no accuracy. Really at all. The reload could be a little quicker for what kind of playstyle you're supposed to adapt with it. Yeah. And it's weapon that failed to evolutionize with Warframe. It's kind of like one of those old artifacts. But anyway, going on to the score. Damage, I'll give a solid 8 out of 10. It doesn't lack damage, definitely not, when it hits its opponent. That's the thing, the accuracy gets a 1 out of 10. Point blank only. Design, 3 out of 10. It's just a outdated weapon in all aspects. Ammo, an 8 out of 10. You won't run out of ammo very easily. Got plenty. Miscellaneous, I give it 3 out of 10. It's good for beginners, but that's about it. And not even the greenest rookies can get it, so you have to work for it a little bit. So in total, the plain Bronco Prime gets 23 out of 50. It's bad, but because it's outdated, more than anything. But let's move on to the next weapon, which is the AK Bronco, which is very much similar for all the pros and cons and score, but I'll do it anyway. On the pros, you get more shots for your bang. And the reload's not as long as you would think it would be. And okay, and that's pretty much it for the pros. Cons, still very inaccurate. Still. You have to get 2 Broncos in order to make it, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. And for me, at least in making this video, the status chance wasn't really working properly. But anyway, moving on from that, the score, I'll give damage a 7 out of 10. It does take a dip in damage, a little bit, just slightly. Accuracy is still dirt poor out of 1 out of 10. Design, I give it a 2 out of 10 for kind of being bonkers weird and slightly weaker in a single Bronco. Ammo remains the same, 8 out of 10, because you're not going to run out very easily. Miscellaneous, 3 out of 10, kind of the same ideas for the single Bronco. So in total, the AK Bronco gets 21 out of 50. It's bad as well because it's outdated, and slightly weaker than its other counterpart, the single counterpart. Call it bias if you want, but I still find the single one better to use than dual. But oh well. Okay, let's wrap this up with Judgment. Now, there's no need to elaborate on too much, but clearly, no, it's not worth it. On the grounds of it's an outdated weapon. If they ever do fix a lot of these things, such as maybe a better range, maybe even do a couple other things. Oh no, make it more shots, Maybe fix the status chance on the AK version. But anyway, it's not worth it in my opinion. It's an outdated weapon, and there's clearly other weapons that deliver the firepower at a much greater range. But well, that's been Showcase for today. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Hope to see you guys next time. Take care out there.